Hi everybody, I'm Rye.
Hello. Hi, Rye.
Welcome to Rye Relationships. This is going to be a big group discussion with moments of curated speakers on various forms of non-monogamy. So that covers the full spectrum, and it's specifically not just polyamory, which has been the buzzword lately. Polyamory is more of this emotional adventure where you're emotionally involved with multiple people, whereas other forms of non-monogamy, they range in differing amounts of emotional involvement, from 0 to some kind of sport fucking to somewhere in the middle. You know, you've got a big range of that. It could include threesomes, it could include casual sex, it could be swingers, it could be people who are emotionally monogamous but sexually more adventurous with other people. And today we're going to try to talk about a little bit all those things and our own personal experiences and explore the topics that come up. One thing that comes up on a regular basis is how do you broach the subject? And it's a matter of timing. You know, do you establish your long-term monogamous relationship and then open it up? One of the best books I've found on that topic is called Opening Up, which I actually have on the back table there. There is a selection from the library of titles back there. Opening Up is one of my favorites. It's the first one that I read on the topic of polyamory and other forms of non-monogamy. Going into it as at the time that I read it, I was deeply involved in a long-term emotional relationship. We were very serious. You know, we were everything except married, because that's not a venture that I choose to ever experience. I'm not the marrying type. But I'm a big supporter of anyone that wants to go down that path as well. And as I read that, I actually found it really sexy. You know, as I'm reading the book, I could imagine me and her exploring that together. And then I got the companion piece, the opposite of that. So if Opening Up is about a couple expanding into new horizons, Ethical Slut is the opposite direction, which is more about a self-definition. It's who you are as a person, how you're going to behave, what you're going to accept, what you're going to tolerate, and where you want to go with your relationships. So that's also there on the back. Those two books, Opening Up and Ethical Slut, they just go hand in hand, and in a big way they cover most of the spectrum. You get a good sense of that. So I define myself as someone who practices a poly-open relationship, and it's a hybrid of the two. It's poly in the sense that I tend to be emotionally involved with multiple people, and I self-define my sexuality as polyamorous, because even if I'm single and alone, I'm usually pursuing and attracted to more than one person, fully capable of a deep loving relationship with multiple people. And I think there's a spectrum on that polyamory. I think some people are inherently emotionally monogamous with, they're going to be firmly on that side, and the other spectrum being deeply polyamorous, having a deep urge to love and be loved by multiple people. And I think there's a range in between the two. And so seeing that as just one extreme or the other is a false dichotomy. It's somewhere more like heterosexuality and homosexuality, where you can see those two extremes and you can see a big path between the middle, a gray area of them all. And then on the open side, I'm not closed. That would be the opposite of open. A closed polyfidelous relationship would be not particularly open to additional partners. Maybe it's a triad or 4 people or 5 people involved, but that's it. They're a small poly family and it's closed. If they're going to pursue someone and add it to the group, it's usually a group discussion or maybe a matriarch or a patriarch that helps make those decisions. But then you've got, the opposite, which is myself, which is open. I really trust my partner to make her own decisions, or partners make their decisions. And I trust that they're going to choose people to enter in their life that are compatible with what we're doing. I trust them that they're going to explain, my role, at least enough to where the person is not surprised by my existence. And I expect the same. And so it's more of an awareness process. Like Wicked, who is my primary partner, we've been together for 2 years. We just had our 2-year anniversary a few weeks ago. And when we met each other, I was deeply involved with someone else of a few years and dating other people. And so she came into the fold, and the structure of those existing relationships when I met Wicked was such that Wicked and I could pursue whatever our bond was going to be, whether it be something casual or more serious, without asking permission in advance. It was already a given that that permission was established. And that's why I call it open rather than just pure poly. And then as that happened, I would inform my other partners. This happened. I met Wicked. Wicked and I had sex. We're going to go on more dates. Whatever the case may be, it was more of informing and making aware rather than hiding of secrets. And that's part of the openness too, is a level of open communication. And prior to all this, I was doing more of a hiding of information, a don't ask, don't tell, which worked for 3 or 4 years. That really worked for me. And I would meet a girl, and on a first date, I would explain to her, just want you to know that I'm seeing other people. You cool with that? Great. And we'd never talk about it again. And sometimes that would continue for 2 or 3 years. But over time, for me personally, the nature of doing public events, whether it be a performance by my band or something like this, or my birthday party, now you've got a problem if you have 3 or 4 people in your life that don't know each other, have never met each other, don't even know each other's names. The don't ask, don't tell ran into big issues. So when it was in the short term, 2, 3, 4, 6 months, that was fine. But at least within the year's time, my birthday came around again, and that party invitation got a little funky. That was largely what inspired me to change into something else where I wanted really open communication.